Alright, Xin Chao. I'm Rafael from Mixpanel, and today we're going to talk about you, how we can actually solve challenges you're facing in your products and platform. And there are a couple of things I would like to, just one second. And there are a couple of things I'd like to cover for today. First, in order for us to solve the challenges you're facing, or the value you can actually unlock in your business, first, I'd like to first help you understand what is a Mixpanel, because not everyone has heard about it. And once you are aware of what we do, that's where you will understand the value we can actually bring. Now, on to the next question. People will ask, now we have Mixpanel. What's the difference between marketing analytics, like Google Analytics, which what most of you are using, and product analytics? And certainly, we will show you how we can really unlock value with a tool like Mixpanel. So, what is Mixpanel? Mixpanel is a tool where it's going to empower any non-technical users to really unlock deeper insights, not just where your users are converting, but why your users are converting. And we want to learn about these behaviors, replicate this against the new users, so they also become power users. And now being able to be self-serve analysis, you don't actually have to rely too much on data team. And this really makes asking follow-up questions a lot quicker, and that's where you can take a lot more strategic actions. Just one second. So, the next question is, what is product analytics and what is it not? And this begets the question, and everyone will start comparing. Oh, we have Google Analytics, which falls under the marketing analytics column. And we have Mixpanel that falls under the product and user analytics. To give a very quick run through about this, product and user analytics, it's really to help you as a user without technical knowledge to really understand the deeper user's behavior, replicate across different users, and that's where you can build your own set of power users. And the kind of questions you're going to ask is not just where are my users converting, but why are they converting? What are these behaviors? How can we learn from them and actually replicate across the different groups of people? And if users don't retain, you are also able to get these answers out of a product analytics too. Now, as we move on into comparison with marketing analytics, these tools are primarily built for marketers. And it's really about understanding the top and the bottom of the funnel, like where are my users coming from? What's the traffic? What's the bounce rate? What are the page views? And the kind of questions is really about campaign performance. Are they looking at X pages? Where are they coming from? And the value it brings is very different from a user analytics like Mixpanel. Now, we do understand it's very difficult to understand what we do. And what I've done is I'll be preparing a very quick demo to help you understand the value we can unlock. And just for today, I'm just going to talk about 4 key things that Mixpanel will help you unlock. So when you're designing your application or product, we always want to look at the journey that my users are going through the most, or what we call the most common user's journey. And the hypothesis we form is that because everyone is going through this path, let's onboard users following this series of steps. But the question is, does the most common path actually equals to the best converting path? Now, the second thing, we know that when users are a lot more engaged in your platform, be it on your website and your mobile, you will say, oh, the better the engagement is, the more they will convert, the more they're ready to convert. But how true is that? And I'll show you in a bit how we can actually dig deeper into this. Third, let's say you have run multiple campaigns. Like let's say you send an email A and email B, you're doing A/B testing. As the marketing team, you will say, let's say campaign A does better than the campaign B. We'll come to the conclusion that, fine, campaign A does better, and let's send that to the rest of my users. But is there any more insights that sometimes better conversion might not be worth the sacrifice? Last but not least, as you're developing new products in a startup or launching new features, there are times where we want to understand, for any sort of these features released, does it really affect the user's conversion? Are we getting them to get the value they want out of our product? With that, let me show you what we can do. So for today's example, I just want to use a very simple industry so everyone can follow. So let's say we are a company like Netflix, where users can start the trial, upgrade the plan. And the first thing I want to answer is, what are the top journeys or paths my users are taking before they reach the conversion point? So let me first build a very simple report to understand the top paths my users are going. So we have the very first step, which is who are my users that is starting the trial. And I want to see what are the steps they take before they upgrade the plan for the very first time. So this is where we start to look at something very interesting. So if we look at this very simple path, just like this, we can see a very easy way to look at my user's journey. And let me just highlight this first. So what this now tells me is that in the most common journey that my users are actually taking, it's from the time a user's complete registration, a lot of users, right, would tend to watch their very first video. Following that, they will head back to the home page, download the video to watch offline, view the plans before they actually upgrade. Now, when you're planning your onboarding journey, you might say, hey, this is what most of my users are taking. This is going to be the best thing for me. But this might not necessarily be true. And let me give an analogy. Let's say you head to two restaurants. Restaurant A sells pho and restaurant B sells pho. And you see in the first restaurant, there's a long queue. Everyone's queuing up before they get in the restaurant. And the second restaurant, we have only a very short queue, 3 people. But have you ever been to a case whereby you go into a restaurant, there's so many people, but the food doesn't taste as good as the second restaurant? So this is where Mixpanel is able to help you dissect such data, whereby sometimes the most popular or the most common journeys does not mean it's converting the users best. So what I'm going to do here is I want to understand, let's break it down by conversion. Are there alternate paths that my users are taking that is helping to increase their conversion in their journey? So initially, this was the top path. But what you're seeing here is that there are multiple paths in the next step that actually increase the user's conversion by an uplift of 52%. And this is telling me, right, for users after completing the registration, users who are actually a lot more socially engaged, they dislike videos, they download the videos. In this series of order, they tend to have better conversion. And this is where users are deriving the value from, not just by watching video, but creating a sort of community to be engaged before they actually convert. So this now creates a different perspective to think. Now, having a long queue or having most users taking this path might not actually be the best thing to onboard users or the best way to onboard users. It could be something else. And that's where it gives you a different perspective to redesign your onboarding flow to get users from point A to point B in the best way possible. Now, let's go on to the second problem. In most cases, let's say, again in Netflix, we always feel that the more videos users watch, the more ready they are to actually upgrade the plan. So the question is, how many videos? Is it 40? Is it 50? Is it 60? And we think the more they do, the better they are. But sometimes, again, it's not necessarily true. So let's first start off by understanding my users who upgrade the plan. Just give it one moment. All right, so with this, we have number of users upgrade the plan in the last days. The question I want to ask is that before they actually get to this point, what is the optimum number of videos they have to watch before they can actually pay for a premium plan? So let's dissect this information. And let's look at the frequency of a user who actually convert by watching videos. Now look at this. This is something very interesting. What we see here, right, for users to actually convert, they don't have to watch 35 to 40 videos. They don't have to watch 30 to 35. All they need is just 10 to 15 videos before they really upgrade. So imagine you're planning a strategy to engage your users via your partners like CleverTap or anyone else, Rather than just thinking, oh, the users complete the trial, let's push them to only upgrade after the trial, it can get us to rethink. If most users just need to watch 10 to 15 videos, why not we push them to get an early upgrade? A bit of discounts to make up for the early upgrade, but you secure that money much earlier on. So the question you need to ask now, does more engagement means better conversion? And that's where Mixpanel can give you answers like this. Now, let's go on into a third problem. All right, with the concept of time, I want to just take a quick shortcut on this. And the goal here is that I am first going to build a funnel whereby, let's say, you're sending 2 different campaigns, and the goal here is to get users to upgrade the plan. So we have users who send an email, they have the first promotion, which is upgrade now promotion, and the second campaign is called early bird renewal. They view the plan page and they upgrade the plan for the very first time ever. So in a funnel analysis, what I want to do, just a moment. Oops, let me just hit back. Is that we see between campaign A, which is the upgrade now promotion, versus the early bird renewal, we can see that 1B, which is the early bird, actually had a slightly better conversion, which is roughly about 10% more if we do a comparison. Now, you might say, all right, since now campaign 1B has better conversion, let's send it to the rest of our customers. However, there are times when a campaign like this, despite having better conversion, we might see something else. So what I've done now, right, is the same funnel analysis. I've actually changed this from a conversion into what we call the time it takes to convert. So despite 1B having better conversion than 1A, it's taking users actually slightly longer to convert in this specific campaign journey. So this is a bit more minute, but there are times, let's say give you an example, you might send a promotion to customers. A group of customers gets a 5% discount code, and the second group of customers get a 20% discount code. Yes, 20% discount code might convert users better, but because the discount is so big, it takes a user much longer time to decide what items they want to buy to make full use of the coupon. And we have seen coupons that customers receiving 5% coupons take 3 days to convert, and customers who actually receive a 20% coupon can take up to 2 weeks. And this actually affects the purchase frequency of your users, which might not always be the best thing. So the question here is to always go deeper and not just focus on conversions. Yes, it brings you revenue, but it does not have to come with a sacrifice on your users' frequency to purchase. Now, on the very last piece, what I want to talk about is something called impact analysis. And this is very powerful for a few reasons. So the goal of a user and product analytics tool, right, is to understand the value your customer derives out of your platform. And it's not just about you, it's all about the customers. And let's say you release a new feature like Netflix that allows them to actually download videos offline to watch, which is a key value. And what you want to understand, did a feature like this let them to convert to a premium plan? So there's a lot of data goes behind this, but we want to keep it simple for you, where we provide you with something called a natural language. There are 2 things we do. We break down the adopters of this new feature and the non-adopters. This is very important because we need to make sure that people using this new particular feature, right, has an increase over users who don't use it. So it's not inflated in nature. And very quickly, we can see here, we have this amount of users that adopted, which is 99% of all users, which is great, good adoption. And the impact that we actually see here, right, is there's a 920% increase in number of plan upgrades because this is a value-added feature. And especially in terms of commute, data plans are expensive. Being able to download it, watch it on flights, plane travel has been extremely important to users in the media industry. Finally, to conclude my session, we know the team is about, riding the wave of AI. So we do understand that getting to any new tool provides a bit of resistance, a bit of learning curve. And, in Mixpanel, we want users to have an easy way to actually get the quickest time to value, to get insights within their data. So Mixpanel has a generative AI called Spark. And the goal here is to allow any C-suite people, any new users, without any learning curve to quickly get insights. And after they get familiar with a tool like this, that's where they can actually be a lot more comfortable to dig deeper by themselves. So let's say you want to ask, about your users' weekly retention based on how often they're watching videos in the last 3 months. Now, the best part of this, right, is that despite sending your data in English, which is what engineers tend to track, Spark is able to understand this in your native language. So, in a simple, I'll say translation from what is my users' weekly retention on videos in the last 3 months, we put it in Vietnamese, and give it a bit of time. It's going to be able to give you the answers you need without the need to actually learn how to use a platform like Mixpanel. There you go. Just in a few seconds, you'll be able to get your retention about your users based on the question you ask in your native language. So with that, this concludes my session. And one takeaway I want you to have from my session is that whatever you see is not always the final conclusion. There is so much more you can learn about your customers to understand the why. And that's where you can make a lot more strategic and critical decisions. Thank you so much.